live again. So I was talking about my love of pop music. I think, well, I had to confess my little slip-ups were there in the end. Robbie Williams and Gary Barlow came into the conversation, and I claimed to love music. That's why I talk about them, because I love music. No point talking about the classic, like classic musicians or, like top jazz or calypso, reggae bands. They're a given. With music, you tend to listen to pop music, when you're young. You grow up with pop music, and, you start branching out after about 14, 15. You start forming your identity, like that when you hit puberty kind of thing. And then you branch off into liking, rather foolishly, one kind of music for the longest time. Not everybody, but I think the majority of people do it. And some people hold on to that forever. And to me, I think, I see it as a negative. It's almost like you formed yourself who you are at 15, which we're coerced into doing by the state anyway. Like, this is what you are. You grow up, you leave school, you're going to be a plumber, you're going to be a cake maker, dressmaker, and that's what you're going to be. That's who you are. And, you have to stick with that. And it may have worked in old times. You went and took a job in your town and the family business. Hello, Simona. And, you became that for life. And it seems like it may have been boring, but I think everything's relative. At the moment, we've got a choice of everything. And when we've played and toyed with everything, then we sit there and we're bored. But if you grew up in a time where your focus was your family business, and you grew up and you saw your family doing it and you grew into that, and there wasn't a million distractions, like now it's thug life. I keep getting stupid notifications or Angry Birds and, a million things that you're supposed to be doing, or you're not the complete human being. You wouldn't feel that you were necessarily missing out on anything, and your life would be different. And plus, you only live to 35 anyway. So, you took in a family business as a child, and you maintain that until your demise. So, yeah, it would have been a lot different. So with music, what I'm saying about what I see as a not so positive side of it is that how we form our characters. With pop music, especially back in the day, because pop music now just all sounds the same. It's a chart top 20 full of the same song with different words on and slight variations of one style of music. Whereas if you went back 15 years, and when I was a child, if you listen to the pop charts, you had a reggae song, a jazz song, a pop song, a silly song. You had a whole mix of music, and it kind of forms your identity as well, a little character. You've got that variation. And as I was saying, you kind of tend to elect one type of music you really like just after puberty or so on. And as you're growing up and sprouting a few hairs, you're like, I'm into this. This is who I am. I'm a punk. I'm a goth. I'm a Rasta. I'm a rocker. And you choose one kind of music and you try and forge your identity around that. And the problem with that is that you grow and you change. But you're afraid to change. You hit 25 and you realise, or 21, 22, and you realise I'm not actually a rocker, I'm not a punk, I'm not a teddy boy or whatever. And you kind of hold on to that. Oh, this is the music of my youth. This is the music I like. This is who I am. This is what I used to be. And then you may listen to the bland old stuff that's about. Or, you may choose a new style of music, but to kind of listen to on the surface, but hold on to the identity that was formed when you were, the younger person who branched off from general pop music. And I've always liked all music. Once again, it doesn't make anyone better than anyone else much, but all it does is, I think it shows the character of somebody. Hey, Jonathan, you're back. Like, when I see some people's music collection, I'm like, is that who you are? I used to have fun with it. I say to my friends, let me tell you a bit about your life. And I used to look at their music collection, and I used to look at it seriously and close. And from it, I used to kind of say, I could tell someone a little bit about their life. And most people told me that I was right. And I looked at my record collection as well, and this is what set me off. And I realised if you've got a record collection, even quite a small collection, when we used to have LPs, and you could still see it with CDs, but the order was always different. It was always in small kind of rectangular racks, typically, that I saw. But with records, you tend to have them out lengthways like this. You may have another row. And when you look at someone's record collection, you could see their character in there. You could pull one out there. Wow, next one there, next one there. Oh, so this is when you were 18, 22, this is when you fell in love, and so on. You could see quite a lot. Well, me anyway, I could read people's character. Now, my record collection was fucked up. It was really like quite a mix. I remember my friend saying to me, what are you doing with that? Because don't forget, when you're young, you in your peer group, you're always forced to be cool and not to like anything outside of what everyone else likes. And so, what's this? And I had a Nana Mouskouri record just because I liked it. I listened to it in Woolworths or somewhere, and I bought it. And I remember when we was all cool and into, like, later on, 26, 27 years of old, and everyone's into like a particular form of dance music. This was a dance music to be into. And I heard Alison Moyet sing Old Devil Called Love. And I just thought, wow. And we was in a record shop in Soho, buying white label shit, you know, being cool. I remember walking around to a normal record shop. It may have been like Virgin, Our Price, which was big at the time, and buying that. My friends were kind of okay about it. They were my friends, but you know, there was some ribbing because what am I doing buying that kind of music? And I just insisted I do it. And I think it's people's character. Now, people do have a mix of records anyway, you know, small mix, but I think more so in modern times. If you look like Jonathan and Kai, I don't know how old you are, Simona, so I don't know where to include you in this. Yeah, sorry about that, Kai. That was me. I messed up. But if you look at your younger friends, like now 25, 26, the majority of them, and even younger, they've just got one style of music, you know, and that's it. And some may have a few exceptions, but even though they're different bands, and they'll argue, oh no, because we don't really know, I don't know the difference anyway, you know, I go, well, this is all the same, it's rock. And no, that's metal, that's thrash metal, that's core, you know, hardcore, blah, blah, blah. I say it's rock music at the end of the day. It's like saying, you know, I like reggae, and you've got your lovers, and you've got, you know, your mix of all the different styles, roots, and Studio One stuff, and say, no, but it's reggae, you know, this is what I'm trying to say. Even though, yeah, there are differences, because that's something I listen to my old school Studio One, like Conscious Roots reggae, and I'm like, you know what, the next person that calls me a name or says anything about race, I'm going to kill him. This reminds me of this, you know, the bad shit. And even sometimes, like blues music, I can listen to it, and it kind of elevates you, even though they're talking about the troubles and how hard times were and how hard times are. So yeah, music can define us. And music really defines who we are. And once again, I'm talking about what I see, my opinions. It's not saying that people don't have a vast collection and not necessarily multi-dimensional. But I really do believe that the things that we extensible to us, which we make ourselves part of externally, and the things that we put into us are our character, which is why it's not simple, but it's possible to read people based on what they put out and what they're taking in. And music for me is one of the areas that I can interpret people quite easily. And yeah, as I said, people know me. I've been studying psychology, philosophy since I was a child, you know, 12 years old. I know I talk about it all the time. It's just become a thing lately. And I've always just studied and watched people. And we all do. Everyone says, oh, I study people. I do. I'm a bit of a philosopher. And you are. We all are. And a psychologist as well, because these are basic elements of our human being and us as animals. You know, you want to know if that person's to trust. You want to know if that person is really a good person, how to love that person, how not to love that person. You want to understand those people a bit more. So we all have an inherent ability to read people, and we may have had it on a really deeper level at one point, but a lot of it's now. Hello, Thomas. Evening. Hello, Paul. Oh, excellent, Simona. Yeah, music. As I said, I chose that because I kind of have an ability, not an ability over anyone else, but I've made it an ability, or can I say, nurtured the ability to read people by their music choices. So, you know, we've all got that ability, but because we've got so much noise around us, so much noise pollution, as I call it, a lot of those natural, innate skills dissipate or are buried. I believe they're still there and you can pull them out, but you have to work towards pulling them out rather than just trying to be a better person or whatever. And this leads me to my normal fun. I make fun a lot, if you don't know me well enough, of the New Agers and hippies. And it's not about everybody, which is why I select groups. I'm talking about a particular kind of person within a particular kind of group. So if you don't feel it, if you identify with those, it's not about you. But, you know, they're trying to find these abilities by finding themselves. And we've entered this age of selfishness, this whole wellness age. So I'm going to be talking about that on Sunday, actually. I won't go into that now. But to go back to the good stuff, the music, and not necessarily only music, but we can be read, and we define ourselves by what we take in and what we put out, and music is part of that, and books as well. I mean, if you ever go to anyone's house and you see they've got a really big, massive book collection and quite diverse titles, and you always kind of, I think most of us, you think, you kind of hold that person a little higher in your esteem because they're a reader, and you think, wow, they must have a wealth of knowledge and so on, and we immediately elevate their status. With music, we don't tend to, unless that person's got a collection like ours of the same music. You're like, yeah, I like that too. And it's not about elevating. That's on a level. You're like, wow, yeah, and you've got copious amounts of things to talk about. Good to see you, Paul. And on the singing, earlier on, Kai Riviere, who's a fantastic singer, as I called him, and he typed a message in. He said, I can sing, but I'm not a singer. And that led me to say, and I'm going to repeat some of this for some of you who were earlier because I deleted the old video. He's right. And this is one of his great traits. And I'll be interviewing Kai on Sunday, on the Sunday show. If you tune into the OBG show group on Sunday at 8 o'clock, then you can see the interview there. And I like Kai for that. He's a wise man and a very honest man. So when I say honest, this isn't about you, by the way, Kai. What I mean honest is we're all dishonest. And we have to be dishonest sometimes, it turns out, to a gnarly boss at work, or, some other incidences, a bullish or violent husband, or bullish, violent girlfriend. And beyond that, if we're honest to ourselves and we extend that to others, that's what honesty is. And Kai's got a truckload of that. By the way, truckload, I got that from you, Kai, years ago. Bring a truckload of hurt. I forget what he was talking about. So he says he can sing, but he's not a singer. And I think, okay, you're right, that's true. I don't know what you're thinking or what your thoughts are, and I express the idea or the knowledge I shared from what I've read, my understanding, what I hold to believe, what I believe to be true. Is many famous artists that I knew of when I was learning music from the 60s, 70s and 80s, who I used to think, wow, they're really good. They don't write their own music. And there's no shame in that, but they're just singers, and they're great singers, and they know how to carry a song, and they know how to perform someone else's music, but they don't actually write. I don't think Whitney Houston wrote many of her songs. For instance, she was a gospel singer like her mother. Her mum's an amazing singer. If you get the chance, type in Whitney Houston's mum. If you thought Whitney Houston could sing, you should see where she got it from. And she could perform. And when you listen to a lot of the great artists, what their ability is and where they get their fame, it's not just simply copying, but they'll cover a standard, be it My Way or How Great Thou Art, a gospel song, which a lot of black singers cover. And same in pop music as well, but someone come along and approve themselves by singing this standard, which sounds like simplicity on the surface, but musically it's quite hard to pull across. So yeah, not all people who sing are singers. And on the negative but funny side of that also, I meet a hell of a lot of people like that. And I talked earlier about X Factor and those sort of shows where people are not singers. What they've done is they've sing one song and their family say they're great as they're growing up, and then their mates, so they always sing that song, and they can sing that song, and they can sing that song really well, but they can't sing other songs, and they can't sing. In fact, they cover that song well, and I do that sometimes. There's one or two songs that I sing all the time, and when I sing them, I think I should be a singer. And it's because basically I know every single phrase, the timing, intonation, inflection, and the cadence. Even I try to copy, and it makes me feel inside that, I can sing, but you put another song on and watch me fall over. OBG.